You're very welcome back. Now, every year statistics are released showing that less men go to their GP than women.
There you have it. Join us to discuss is psychotherapist Dr. Richard Hogan. Richard,
Good morning.
Great to have you with us. Right. So the three of us on the sofa here this morning, three fellas.
Three men.
Only one of us go to the doctor regularly.
Exactly.
Exactly, yeah.
So you're not great at
No,
going to the doctor.
I'm not
I'm
great.
desperate going to the doctor.
I'm very good at doing it.
Okay, never out of the doctors. But this is a new survey about the annual health survey. Ireland has found that women are 12% more likely to attend the GP.
Yeah.
What is it about fellas that don't tend to go to the doctor?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think there's cultural expectations, but also I think men don't have the same access to kind of like normalising going to a GP, because women would have reproductive and kind of like meetings with, gynecologists going through their life, whereas men don't have that kind of contact, so it's not normalised for us, I don't think.
You're
Growing
right.
up
I can't
as a
remember
boy.
the last time you go.
No, you don't. See, so it's not something that becomes normalised for you to do it, which it really should be, because I suppose we're boys, and how I think about myself, I'm injured at the moment because I put off. I had a pain in my knee and I just ignored it, and I was like, I think I did what every man does. It will go away if I run more. Right?
So you've left the crutches out
I
the
left the
back
crutch
here.
outside for my ego.
But you're actually on crutches.
Yeah.
So what happened that?
I just ignored it and went to the gym and kept going.
In knee pain?
Yeah, knee pain. And then it just like ballooned out. And I was like, this is what most men do. I better do something about this now rather than the preventative thing earlier on. And then I went and tried to get it sorted out. So I'm in a bit of bother right now.
You're more bothered than you probably would have been. But what stopped you going to see the doctor in the first place?
Busyness,
Okay,
prioritising work, prioritising my time, saying that I'll do that later, I'll put that off, I'll go for a run. The way you have a niggle, you're going to go, if I can run it off. Yeah. That's the way I was thinking. I did that for 50 years. Yeah. And then nothing ever happened. So, you know what I mean?
It's the 50 years
the 50
part.
years
the
part.
problem. Your wife then,
Yeah.
was she saying, go get that looked? Why don't you go to the
Shaking
doctor?
her head at me going, what are you doing? Go to the GP. And I was like, I will, yeah. So why don't you just ring the GP and make an appointment? I said, yeah, no, I'll definitely do that.
So you're a psychotherapist, right?
You're telling people these things.
Do as I do, not as I say.
Well, I'm here because I now understand how the importance, more than I have ever done, about preventative and about normalising going to the GP and about having a GP is a very important thing. Having a good GP that you link in with and that you have regular, once a year should be something that I think we all do. I'm going to start that now, I have to say, from now on.
But you see, a lot of men would say, well, why would you go even once a year if there's nothing wrong with you?
That's the preventative part.
But that's the thing, I get my bloods done every 6 months.
Yeah, and it's so
people
important.
So, well, you should be getting your bloods done at least once a year.
GPs are so
No, but
busy.
I'm saying preventative things
but it's
like
preventative.
that.
They'll pick things up, and the screening, say, for bowel cancer, which is a really important initiative, and only 1 in 4 men take that up, it finds pre-cancerous cells in there. And so it's about prevention more than finding the thing. I suppose the male mentality can be, I'll wait till something happens. Yeah. I think that's the kind of mentality that we have.
And this is a free service that the HSE are doing at the moment, and you do it by post.
And it goes to the house, so you don't even have to leave.
You get it, it goes to the house, you send it back, and then if they see anything, they'll contact you.
You get contacted by them.
And it's so simple. But yeah, only one in 4 men
take it up. And it might actually, it's a small little test, but it might have huge implications in your life. It could save your life.
Right. Well, why is it 1 in 4?
I think it's down to that. I think we wait for problems. I think the male psyche is that kind of way. It's designed kind of, I prioritise work, I go out and I won't do that. And, things are going grand. I remember thinking that to myself recently, I've had no issues with my legs or anything recently. And then I started to get this little niggle and I was like, that will go away. And so we have a fear, I think, of the doctor. A bit of our fear is that you might get a label for something. And so when we have a fear, psychologically speaking, we have 2 responses. One of those is avoidance. And I think men are very good at avoiding.
Does this come back to, because if women are 12% more likely, is this coming down to men are very they put their head in the sand, they don't like to open up, that they don't feel good, whether it be physically or mentally, where women seem to be a lot more open, they have these conversations with their friends, they're more than happy to talk about what's going on with their doctor?
I think there's cultural expectations around masculinity in men as well that we have to kind of like push past and not see it as a weakness to talk about health, because men are more likely to die from suicide. Mental health is statistically would impact men, higher levels of that, and so we'd have to look at that and say, well, do we have the language to talk about that? Yeah. In my experience working clinically, we probably don't. And I think men, particularly in their 40s, can get very isolated and lose their friendships and they have the big existential crisis of, is this it? My job, where I am in life, these big things. Is this it?
Yeah.
But how do they articulate that? Who do they articulate that to?
Yeah.
A lot of that's silent,
But then you'd have it at home, though, Richard, would you not? Like you were sort of saying, your wife was saying to you, so if people are looking in this morning, how important is it to say to your husband, to your partner, to even some friends that you might know are just probably never going to go to a doctor? It's important to go. Why aren't you going? Make the phone call.
Right, you see, exactly. And I would try to do it more around the kind of encouraging way rather than like pressurizing someone. Because I think when you get pressurized, you probably resist it a bit and push it away. And I think as a family, I know that's kind of like, I'm trying to be honest about it here myself. As a family, I'm going to try to do that myself now that we do this once a year.
What's the difference between encouraging somebody and going, listen, you need to go, you need to make that phone call?
I suppose you're lumping kind of pressure. You're probably making it less likely that they will do it when you're kind of going, do it. Whereas I was saying, I think we need to start doing this in our life anyway as a family. If we've got kids here, we have to start doing this as a couple now. I mean, this is just the reality of aging. When you're 20s, you're not going to the gym.
Exactly.
But as you're aging, you need to be in touch with your body a little bit more and understand the signs. Like getting blood tests, really important to figure out what's going on internally, because we can all look fantastic, and things might not be so fantastic underneath.
But it's a hurdle to go see the doctors nowadays. Like
they're under pressure.
They're under huge pressure. To get past the receptionist, you might get a phone call if you're lucky.
There is a barrier.
Yeah, because you have to literally be having a leg hanging off to try and get to. Like we're laughing, but it is.
Yeah, but Tommy, that shouldn't be an excuse.
But like my wife was, so she booked to go see the doctor, and I heard the hurdles and the questions she had to go through, and I said, it's not worth it.
But that's no excuse. It is worth it in the end.
Were you looking for an excuse to get out of it, Tommy?
No, but it's just like I feel fine. I feel great.
That's the thing.
Exactly.
But you can feel fine, but it's about staying in touch with what's kind of going on is the really important that I've understood now myself, if I'm being honest. You know what I mean? For years, I didn't think along those times. I was thinking like, I'm grand, there's nothing going on here, I'm fine. But it's actually getting that kind of information and data so that you've got preventative stuff going on, so you understand your blood, you understand what's going on with your blood.
But how do I tell the receptionist that I just want to get in? She said, what's wrong with you? I said, nothing, but I just want to make sure that there's nothing wrong.
But you can book in blood separately, because the nurse in a clinic would do that. So you just...
The doctor won't do your blood.
I just feel like I need to get my bloods done, just to check it out. That you set the date for that.
And get that as a habit then. Because like Alan's doing that as a habit every 6 months. Once you start that as a habit, then you're just, there's something you do every 6 months. Right. And that's actually really, that's, I think, probably life-saving.
Right.
And also get a good GP.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
Finding a good GP can be quite difficult, because a lot of GPs are not taking on new patients and stuff like that. But this, Bowel, I did this, and I did it at home, and it's so simple. Like, tell us a little bit more about it. How can people find out about it?
Bowelscreening.ie. It's an initiative run by the Irish Examiner and the HSC. And it's just as simple as that. You just register online. It will come out to you. You do a sample, you send it off.
Send it back.
And then if there's any abnormalities, they'll contact you. If you don't hear anything, great news. You know what I mean? And so it's that simple. And it's just a small little test that could have massive consequences for your life.
It is a great campaign. I'm so bad. I didn't hear anything, and I start phoning them up. Why are you not contacting
This is why no one can get into talking. In terms of this, physically and mentally, obviously the bowel cancer, 1 in 4 people to go out there. But like, this is mental and physical.
Yeah, it is.
How important is it? Like, what sort of tips would you have for somebody this morning who's been putting it off for a long time?
Just do it. It's as simple as that. Once you make that call, once you get that appointment, once you do your bloods, once you register for that and you send off the test, once you start talking to people about how you're feeling internally, I mean, sharing how we feel is such an important thing, Tommy. Once we find the language to express our inner world, I think things start to kind of really move along for us.
A problem shared is a problem halved. Isn't that what they say? Your knees all right?
Oh, getting there.
Yeah. Running on the roads.
Not good. Not when you're 50.
Psychologist Dr. Richard Hogan, thank you
guys
so much for joining us.
Thank you. Right, time for a short break. Lots more still to come.
We'll see you in a few minutes.